Imagine being back in Jesus' time, having weather like this, and going up the mountain with him. And as he sits, you know that he's offering words of wisdom, teaching, mission, challenge, and call. And as many a scripture scholar has stated, this Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, are not something from the past, nor something for future, but are stated clearly in the present. And sometimes we sort of overlook what Jesus was offering, not only the people then, but to us today, of what is our pathway in life? What is the way that we follow? He gives a pretty strong outline here, and as he does so, he offers the different blessings as we hear them, of how we live them out. One of the things I imagine is that Jesus knew very well a great deal of the people who were following him, and how many of those he had very clearly in mind that he was offering of these words of wisdom. The poor in spirit, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Not it will be, it is. For those who mourn, and all of us go through grief at one point or another, that we realize that the loss of someone close takes a part of us with them. And as Jesus looks out at the disciples, they will be comforted. That comfort of one another, that realization that God has offered us the fullness of life, that ultimately we seek one day to be reunited. But here and now, that comfort is present. For the meek, they will inherit the land. And we think of those who recognize God's beauty, the wonder that is present, that they share in that wonder of where they are at the moment. For those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, they will be satisfied. That those who are merciful will be shown mercy. The clean of heart will see God. Peacemakers will be called children of God. The persecuted for the sake of righteousness will inherit the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when they insult and persecute you, utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad. Your reward will be great in heaven. It's not just the here and now, but also the promise of what is to be. And as we listen, as we go through each of these statements, hopefully we recognize Jesus never said, "Here, let me show you the easiest, simplest way." He promises to show us the way, not necessarily simple, but oftentimes more challenging. And yet, as we live that out, day in and day out, how do we keep that in the front of our minds? Because oftentimes, we find ourselves living in the past, looking back at whether it be goodness or resentments, that they stand in the way, the baggage, that stuff we carry around. And Jesus gives us the sacraments to be able to tell us, let it go. Let God handle it. Or to be caught up in the future of what could be, what might be, and 90% of the time in the anxieties, it doesn't occur. But the here and now, blessed are you. To realize God's grace, His presence, His acknowledgement of who we are, and that understanding is words that are truly refined. And in that goodness and in that love, that he asks us to share with him that beauty. When we have weather that is so nice, hopefully we're able to give praise to God for the wonders that he offers to us, to have the opportunity to enjoy and to reflect and meditate on his words, not speaking to God, not telling him what we need, not asking him for different things, but just to allow him to give us his grace, his beauty, and his love. As we celebrate this Eucharist today, aware truly of Jesus' presence, of his nourishment in word and in the Eucharist, that he asks us to truly realize not only are we blessed, but the beauty that he prepares for us is yet to come. As we seek to live the now, the moment, may we truly give thanks for the words of everlasting life, for the love and care, and for one another that we journey with, that God's goodness enlivens us, strengthens us, and guides us to the beauty and goodness he seeks for us to be part of.